Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the third installment of Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype We Need. Um, it's surprisingly already in episode 3. I keep mistaking We Need with I Need. I Need as the one where I want support for the archetype. And this is not support, this is Archetypes We Need. Was it Archetypes We Need? Oh, I'm confused. I'm not gonna look it up because I just did the audio testing and I'm too lazy if you didn't figure it out. Today is the third installment and we are gonna talk about the a potential Mirage Knight archetype. So who the fuck is Mirage Knight? This guy used to be a super rare back then, now it's just a common and it's a pretty bad monster. One of the hardest monsters to be summoned. We'll get to that later. But it has some unique quirks, like it has a built-in honest effect, and it's the first monster that has that kind of ability. When it battles a monster, it gains its attack to its own attack. Pretty cool stuff, and it was in the anime, so it was in a further arc, so not many people care about this card. But it was a pretty neat thing. And for all this effort, for this powerful effect, after battling it gets banished, which is awful. And all your efforts have been gone to waste. The fortunate thing in the anime was, after it was removed from the field, you could summon the first monsters that were used for its summoning, the main ingredients, you could say. What are the main ingredients? We are gonna directly talk about the problem. To summon Mirage Knight, you have to run Dark Flare Knight. And what is Dark Flare Knight? It's a fusion monster with Dark Magician and same Swordsman. You already see the problem. It's a fusion monster, which requires a fusion monster. You can say, okay, Flame Swordman isn't that instant fusion material, instant fusion it's at 1. Oh wait, isn't there this other instant fusion which just summons a non-effect fusion monster, which Flame Swordman is? Yeah, you are correct. And now how you get this guy out? You might have to run polymerization, at the very least you have to run Hexiod Fusion. And nobody wants to run Hexiod Fusion. To tribute Flame Swordman, waste your normal summon to get this guy out. The alternative is you run freaking Dark Magician, use Eye of Timaeus, tributing your Dark Magician to get the second out. But if you run Dark Magician, you probably want to run a Dark Magician deck. And if you're running a Dark Magician deck, you don't want to run Dark Flare Knight of all things. It's way too much effort and you get a lesser body. And it's a warrior monster which is working against Dark Magician decks. This card was decent in gold format, it sees play, but not to summon Mirage Knight, which its effect is. And when this monster battles a monster, you take no battle damage, which is nice because it's a big body, but it's not really that big of a body. It's a 2200 fusion monster after all. But the target for fusion, what is it called? Fusion weapon, which boosts its attack by 1500. It's actually a fusion weapon if you didn't know. There's another card which can summon it really easily. It came out recently, but even if you don't want to run that because it's a battle floater, which is its second negative. Which in this format you don't want battle floaters, you want general floaters that get their effects triggered by any kind of removal build, through effect destruction, be it through banishing or whatever. And this is the thing about Dark Flare Knight, it relies too much of your opponent to make the place to get it out, and it can be easily disrupted. And it costs you your battle phase. Granted, if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can summon Mirage Knight from your deck or hand, and immediately continue the battle phase and get the effect of Mirage Knight. Now, this comes with the other problems related to Mirage Knight. This card is an extra deck monster. Mirage Knight is a main deck monster. Main deck monsters can be drawn, and the problem if it's drawn is it's a brick. The main problem with Dark Mirage Knight is, for one, it's a brick, and the second is after it builds, it's gone. In the anime, when it was gone, you could summon Dark Magician and Flame Swordsman, but this effect is no longer present, and even if it was, Mirage Knight would still not see any play. Yeah, maybe back in the day it would see play, but not anymore. Solutions, and in this case we come to the thing I was talking about. I think the general mechanic where you summon a big monster that runs over anything but then leaves the field is a pretty unique interaction, and I think you can make other interactions that interact with either how a certain monster leaves the field and other stuff. And I think this is where a Illusion archetype or Mirage Knight archetype would be pretty cool. Dark Flare Knight and Mirage Knight have longer names which are not translated into English because back in the day cards were meant to be archetypes, and if you think about it, Mirage Knight is long enough already. Mirage Knight or Dark Flare Knight, these are names easy to print. You don't need to call it Knight of Hot Black Flames, Dark Flare Knight, or some shit. I really don't like how long the Japanese names can be sometimes. What could an archetype do? And what does to be done? So a workaround about Mirage Knight's effect is that it cannot be summoned besides through the effect of Dark Flare Knight, and the easiest way to bypass this without ignoring its summoning condition is to make other cards that treat themselves as Mirage Knight. And cards that allow you, in general, I think there's no reason to run Dark Flare Knight, but if you do, maybe should be Dark Flare Knight cards that give you bonuses for running Dark Flare Knight, is what I'm gonna say. Cards that really benefit. You just move away from all the Dark Magician stuff. I didn't mention this, but yeah, move away from relying on Dark Magician and Flame Swordsman. I'm gonna shorten it like that. More cards that respond on Mirage Knight leaving the field. Basically that maybe monsters that summon themselves from their deck if Mirage Knight leaves the field. Or cards that fusion summon Dark Flare Knight from your extra deck as a reward or whatnot. And there are many things you can do. Some things that prevents you to break with Dark Knight, Mirage Knight, like a monster that can summon itself from the deck if you reveal a right row Mirage Knight. It's a break. Now I'm able to summon another monster. There's a lot of things that can be done. Light attribute. These are warriors, but they have opposing attributes. Maybe you can make chaos build. These knights were meant to destroy. Dragon Mastermind, 5-god dragon or 5-headed dragon, depending on what kind of localization you prefer. I think there's a lot of things that can be done with that. Excuse me. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think it would be really cool if we had a Mirage Knight archetype. And I think Konami should really cash in on that. move away from also Dark Magician and Flame Swordman's reliant card interactions and just make some kind of I think you can just let the archetype still summon Dark Flare Knight, but do not rely on it. Just give it as a bonus and cards that treats themselves as Dark Flare Knight triggering the effect. It doesn't have to be leaving on the field. Like while this card is on the field, it's treated as Dark Flare Knight. Discard one card from your hand, special summon one Mirage Knight from your deck, or a Mirage Knight monster, and this will automatically include Mirage Knight because since it's Dark Flare Knight, it is part of the effect to summon it. And this is what I think would be the logical way to get this thing out. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetypes we need, and we will see each other next time.